Hey, it's Jordan with TYT and TYT Network. It is Thursday, April 28th, 2016. I am back in New York. I was in Rhode Island for a day or two covering the primary there. We have videos up at youtube.com/TYT Politics, where you can watch my reporting in Rhode Island on primary day, where there's a lot of interesting slash shady things going on. I wanted to update you guys because there's some moving parts now in the New York primary election story. I know the media has declared that Hillary Clinton is essentially the nominee. That might be true. I'm going to get into that in a different video for TYT Politics. But there is still motion in the lawsuit, and there's actually a new motion that has been filed this morning in New York State Supreme Court in downtown Manhattan by a different attorney, separate from the original lawyers of Election Justice USA, who originally filed a lawsuit on primary day to try and get all provisional ballots counted in New York. Of course, there was over 100,000 voters purged off the voting rolls in Brooklyn. As I've reported on 2YT Politics, the problems aren't just in Brooklyn, they are in other counties too. There has been a new motion filed this morning in New York State Supreme Court by attorney Mark Moody, separate from the Election Justice USA attorneys. He filed a motion that is an emergency order asking for the certification of the New York primary election results to be stopped, to basically put a halt on certifying the election results. I don't have the exact date. It's kind of different people are saying different things. But a couple sources, as I've been reporting on this, I've obviously developed different sources, have told me that May 5th is currently the date where the primary results will be certified. Certification essentially means that the results of the primary go into the Secretary of State of each different state and become official. So this attorney, Mark Moody, has filed an emergency order to get that process stopped. His motion is arguing on the grounds of closed primary is unconstitutional according to New York state law. I'm not a lawyer. I haven't spoken with Mark yet. I'm going to try to do that. So I don't know if that's true or not. But his motion to stop the certification is on the grounds that a closed primary, which only allows party members, either on the Democratic side or the Republican side, to vote in their respective primaries, is unconstitutional, and he's citing New York state law for that. Again, I haven't spoken with him. I don't know if that's going to be granted to him. I will find that out today and update you guys. But a judge typically will rule on the same day if they're going to stop certification of an election. Again, we're getting close. It's April 28th. From what I'm hearing, the certification is on May 5th. So if the process of certifying is going to be halted, it needs to happen before May 5th. We'll see what happens with Mark's lawsuit. The original lawsuit by Election Justice USA, which is the voting rights activist group that has been working on voter suppression issues in Arizona, New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware had some things. Now you're seeing things in California. They are working separately from Mark as their lawsuit goes forward. Their lawsuit isn't about that closed primaries are unconstitutional based on New York law. Their lawsuit is asking for all provisional ballots that were casted on election day to be counted based on the fact that there was widespread purges in Brooklyn and in other counties. I'm going to read you the statement I just got from Election Justice USA's attorneys. Their name is Blair Fellows and Jonathan Clark. They've been working for free, basically, on this lawsuit at great expense to them. And they just told me, I'll be looking at my computer, so I apologize. We have to serve Nassau County, Suffolk County, Queens, the Bronx, and Manhattan in order to officially add them as defendants to our lawsuit. Today, we are serving Nassau County and Suffolk County. I actually live in Nassau County in New York. Tomorrow, they will be serving Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Manhattan. They've already served Brooklyn about a week or two ago, but now they have to serve them again it's kind of complicated, but it's an amended serving. So they have to serve Brooklyn again. So again, today they're serving Nassau County and Suffolk County. Tomorrow they're serving Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Manhattan. What serving means is basically officially informing those counties that they are being sued and they are being added into the lawsuit as defendants. On Monday, certain counties will begin their audits of provisional ballots, which we need the data for to show how many provisional ballots were cast in each county. After that, we will file an emergency order on Tuesday to stop the certification of the primary results. The disclaimer there is if that already hasn't been granted to this separate attorney. So let's say this separate attorney who filed an emergency order to stop the certification this morning, let's say that his motion is dismissed. That does not preclude the attorneys for Election Justice USA to file their own emergency order to request that the certification be stopped, because the two different lawyers are arguing different things. One is arguing that closed primaries are unconstitutional according to New York state law. The Election Justice USA attorneys are arguing that provisional ballots must be counted from all the counties that people were purged, because obviously this was quote unquote an error in Brooklyn and other places that incorrectly took over 100,000, maybe more, we don't know yet, Democratic registered voters off the rolls, making them unable to vote. So there's a lot of movement. I really don't know if this lawyer, Mark Moody's motion filed this morning will be granted. It's a long shot, just like Election Justice USA's lawsuit was always a long shot. I will tell you that, like I saw in Rhode Island and like we're seeing in many other states, by and large, the majority of establishment politicians in New York, in Rhode Island, elsewhere, are essentially in the tank for Hillary Clinton. I want to be clear. I have no evidence that Hillary Clinton was involved in purges. I know a lot of the audience is mad at me when I say that because they believe that Hillary Clinton was part of this. I am a journalist before I'm, a supporter of any one candidate. I can't report things or speculate on things if I don't have evidence. So I'm not going to suggest that, but what I do know is that Democratic governors, Democratic congressmen, Democratic senators, Democratic state congressmen, Democratic state representatives, DNC chairmen of different states are mostly backing Hillary Clinton. So when an attorney files an emergency order to stop certification of election results that Hillary Clinton won by 16 points, when a different group of attorneys files a lawsuit that asks all provisional ballots to be counted, which may help Bernie Sanders close the gap of the results in New York, they're up against the Democratic Party establishment and the Democratic Party machine. So I don't know if judges, I don't know if Board of Elections are really inclined to give anything that might help Bernie Sanders. So we should say that because that's obvious. But what I do know is the original lawsuit was not dismissed outright. I had haters on Twitter saying, you're pushing conspiracy theories and nonsense, and this is a farce. Well, if it was a conspiracy theory, if it was nonsense, then the judge probably would have just dismissed it on election day when the suit was filed. So there's going to be more hearings. So this is still a lawsuit, and I follow through on things. So I reported on this, and I'm going to continue reporting on this. I will make sure to update you on Facebook Live, on Twitter. You could follow me on Twitter at JORDANCHARITON. And for previous videos of my reporting on the New York primary lawsuit and the voter purges, where I spoke with experts, I spoke with lawyers, in addition to my reporting in the last 2 or 3 days in Rhode Island, where Rhode Island, who is controlled by a Democratic governor who's a huge supporter of Hillary Clinton, whose whole Democratic state congressional body is supporters of Hillary Clinton, they decided to cut 2 out of 3 polling places this election compared to 2008. They had about 34 less polling places for people to go vote. When you do that, it's not only about the fewer polling places, it's also about you're making people who previously had a polling station fairly close to where they live have to drive further to vote. This disproportionately affects low-income workers. This disproportionately affects minority workers or minority individuals. As I showed in my reporting, they had 3 polling places within a mile and a half of each other in one of the wealthier areas of Rhode Island, the east side of Providence. So wealthy people weren't affected. They had just as many polling places as normal. It was the low-income areas and the minority areas that had their polling places cut. And what was the result of this? Take a guess. 36% fewer, 36% drop in voter turnout on the Democratic side compared to 2008. So you had 34 fewer polling places, and guess what? You had a 36% drop in voter turnout. Now, I just want to get into some logistical information because I've seen a lot of comments under videos asking me why I am shooting these videos on my phone vertically, because it doesn't look as good as normal camera. Facebook Live only allows a 1-to-1 aspect ratio. So in English, what that means is when you see this Facebook Live in a video on YouTube, it's a perfect square. So you're seeing only a square image of me, and then there's kind of blurry stuff on the side. That's going to happen whether I hold up the phone straight or I hold up the phone like this sideways. So it doesn't really make a difference. I could hold it up either way, but I prefer holding it up like this. It's easier for me to kind of see myself and make sure I'm framed right. But bottom line, no matter how I hold the phone, you're still going to see the same result. I could have my cameraman and editor, Eric, explain that in a video if you don't understand what I'm saying. But overall, stay with us, youtube.com/TYTpolitics. We're almost at 50,000 subscribers. So if you want to be, if you're not subscribed and want to help us out, get to that number. We're part of the TYT Army. We're growing every day. When I started in January, we only had 4,000 subscribers. So we're growing by leaps and bounds. Stick with us. I'll update you as I get more information. This is Jordan with TYT. Thanks for watching.